So, it's important to remember, before throwing your Windows Launch 7 party, to actually install Windows, right?
Wait a minute. No, that was last night, dude. The Windows 7 launch party. And Windows sucks.
What are we doing now?
Anyway. This is New Brew Thursday. It's New Brew Thursday, and we're back on the air.
Yes,
what's up?
we are.
Now, some of you who don't read the blog, and shame on you, I'm looking at you.
Reading
right
is
there.
fun.
No, not you. Move to the side. That guy. Yeah, him.
Yes.
Read the blog. You're probably wondering who these guys are. Because this is not Devin and Travis.
No.
And, you know, Devin and Travis, moment of silence. That's good enough. They've decided to move on. Travis is in a different place.
Yes.
And Devin wants to be a bodybuilder.
Not here.
And I don't know what that means. This is a beer body right here.
I think
Love
bodybuilding
it.
and beer do not mix.
Oh, no, dude. You need beer to build the perfect body. The perfect body.
Maybe my body.
Not over here. This is nice. He's blonde. This is Brad.
I don't want to be the world's best bodybuilder. I want to be the world's best drunk bodybuilder.
Right there. All right, this is Brad. You're gonna love Brad. We love Brad. Not that way. Well,
Sometimes.
sometimes.
And
And John.
podcast. God.
Vodka. This is
Instantly.
John.
Hi.
He'll say more than that, I promise.
I will.
All right. And you probably know John from such albums as...
You probably know him biblically.
Third time's a charm.
Third Time's a Charm.
Start from scratch.
Start from scratch.
And the
I love that
upcoming
one.
A Lifetime of Learning.
Lifetime of Learning.
There
John
we
is
go.
the lead guitarist at Better Luck Next Time.
Oh, yes.
But he realizes that there's no money in a punk band.
No, there isn't.
There's
actually.
money in podcasting.
If anyone joins a punk band expecting to make money, all your dreams will instantly die. Don't do it.
Well, and on that note,
Yes.
so this is our return episode. We're very excited to be back. We when I say we are excited to be back, I'm excited to be back. These
I'm
guys are
stoked
excited
to
to
be
be a
here.
part of the show.
Dude, I'm totally stoked to be here. I was a fan of this show.
Yeah, John was New Brew Thursday's biggest fan.
I
And
probably was.
I loved the.
He was just like one of you. Maybe
You
one
too,
day if you
if
play
you-
your card right.
Yeah, because it's late and Brad made us wait, so there might be a third slot open. No.
They don't know that. They don't know that. It's 6 p.m. I was here on time. It's awesome.
So tonight we're drinking Stone. It's a collaboration brew. It's Stone, it's Brewdog, it's Cambridge. They joined forces. They created a beer called Juxtaposition.
It's very
It is
rare beer.
it's a black Pilsner, which up until the creation of this beer didn't exist. That style didn't exist at all.
A black Pilsner.
A black Pilsner, yes.
Ah.
It's also Stone's first foray into lagers.
Okay.
Because a Pilsner is a type of lager. Typically, Stone brews ales. So this
Yeah.
is their first foray into the lager. You out there, unless you own a bottle of this right now, will not ever get it. Sorry. And New Brew's mantra is that we do beers that everybody can get a hands on, give it a try to, whatever. But this week episode is kind of like our celebratory, like we're back.
Yes.
And we wanted to do just an epic beer, and this is an epic beer. And part of what makes this beer epic is that Taylor Shaw met us down at the Stone Brewery and gave us 4 bottles of this beer at the Art of Beer on Twitter. Follow
Yes.
her if you don't, because she's awesome.
Yeah, the art of beer.
Women, and it'll be right here somewhere.
Yes.
Women who drink beer are awesome, first of all. I love women that drink beer. I hate the stereotype that women don't drink beer.
I have to agree with you.
Yeah, so anytime I meet a woman who's passionate about beer, we're instant friends. I don't even care anything else about her. But Taylor's cool. She met us down there. She even gave us a little appropriate bag,
Yeah.
which, I'm bending in ways to get to it. Because, I think either she thought we're princesses, or maybe she was the princess.
Or maybe the
Or
Jux
maybe she thought we were
is the princess.
princes.
Princes,
Plural
yes.
prince.
I wonder
Yeah.
why the IN is white.
I like the pink frilly thing, though. I want to rub it on my
princess.
face. But I love the bag. She gave us the bag. So, but we want to say thank you very
Take
much to
that off and
Taylor.
Make a cool
Thanks, Taylor.
mustache. Yeah, like a handlebar mustache.
So we have this beer, and we're very excited about it. And we're pairing the beer tonight with some German sausages that have been actually caramelized in beer. This particular beer, actually.
In the Jux.
In the Jux. And then we're also doing some cheeses. We're doing a brie with garlic and a Mahone raw milk cheese and well as and Torquay, which is a sheep milk cheese. And all of these are going to like complement the very they're very earthy cheeses. They're going to complement the dark flavors of this beer. You know, it's not overly hoppy. It's more of a Pilsner, so you want to go with the earthy tones to it, whatever. It's not like a dark porter where you go sweet or something like that, but it's in that realm. So this will be good. I think we'll enjoy this. And so let's kick the beers open.
I have one problem.
What?
I believe it's called
Just
the
one?
Maillard reaction, and it's not an actual caramelization.
Well, you know, you weren't here
Google
for the
it.
picking.
Our pan is burnt.
And you have the opener, so
You're the first one to go, bro.
you get to open.
Oh,
It's a good sound.
Thank
pop
you.
the cherry.
Now, you drink these out of a Pilsner glass, like this. The style of glass that you drink beer out of is very important, and we've talked about that before on this show. But each style of beer has its own glass that you want to drink it out of. It helps to capture the aromas, the flavor, the essence of what the beer is. And John has a very good pour, Brad has a very bad pour, and mine is somewhere in the middle.
I like letting it breathe.
Well,
Okay?
you know.
It's out of a bottle.
He
It's
takes
not out
his
of a
time.
tap.
He takes his time.
The head's where you're going to get your aroma from, so you want to take it in.
I'm taking.
This has some New Zealand hops.
I smell some New Zealanders.
If
in
this
there.
is a lager, it's got a lot of hops.
It's got a lot of hops in it, yes.
Oh.
And it was actually, they brewed this beer, and after the brewing of it, they tried a little bit of it, and they were happy with it, but not as happy as they could be, so they dry hopped it.
Okay.
And that's where it's getting this extra hoppiness to it.
And what exactly is dry hopping?
Thank you.
Dry hopping is when you take a collection of hops and you basically run the beer through the fermented beer through those hops.
Okay.
And so it's almost like
After it's already
been brewed, so it sucks all the oils out of the hops again, and it just gets all that hop flavor.
Just like a little
into the
extra
beer.
kick
Yeah.
at the end of the beer.
All
Right,
like
maybe
at a couple of the
very
beer festivals that Dogfish went to, Sam brought the Russell the Enamel Animal, which is basically like a converted coffee maker that is full of hops.
I think I saw something like that.
Yeah, and they run the beer through the hops, and it's on the Beer Wars video. Did you
Yeah, that's where I saw it.
And they run the beer through that, and then it comes out the end, and you drink it, and it basically chews the enamel off your
It's
teeth.
like
pretty
a
awesome.
like totally like fresh, instant like
Right.
hop injection into the beer.
Exactly, and so they did that with this beer after they got done making it. So it's got
Nice.
that extra kick of hops with it.
Cool.
The Black Pilsner, like I said, didn't exist before they made this beer. This is a new style of beer. Now,
That's good.
personally, you know,
weird.
I kind of have a fanboy thing that goes on with Stone
divine.
Brewery.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Like, I have a hard time drinking any of their beers and going, oh yeah, I don't like this beer. Like, cause it's Stone. Like, everything they do, I love. Like, and that's because they're my brewery.
I'm kind of the same way with like Green Day and Metallica.
Right,
Anything they
musically
do,
wise, right.
even though in the back of my mind I'm going, you know, I kind of don't like this. I can't
Can't hate.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You just gotta like it. So.
Now, and I love this beer. I really do. There are a couple of Stone brews that I'm like, okay, I like it. I like it because it's Stone. I wouldn't drink it if it wasn't Stone. This beer, when I drank this the first time, I really thought that I had like achieved a higher plane of existence.
Wow,
Yeah, and
it's pretty epic.
Enlightenment in a bottle.
and that was the only time I'd ever drank it. And so now we're drinking it again. This is like the second time I've drank it. And the first time I took that swig, I had that same experience. It was just, I love it. I like the way it feels in my mouth. I like the flavors it exhibits.
It's weird because it's hoppy. I can taste the hops in it, but I don't know what it is that kind of flattens them out. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
it's not like it hits you, and you're like, oh, you know, wow. It's kind of
Right.
it's hoppy and then mellow at the same time.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Exactly. You know, and Stone has that what's the word? That reputation for being very aggressive with their beer.
Yeah.
So that it's like, okay, you're gonna drink a beer, and it's like you got Arrogant Bastard or the Double Bastard or even like the Ruination IPA. These are beers that are gonna kick you in the face.
Right.
Like you're gonna drink these, it's like
Yeah.
But the reason they work for people like me, because ultimately when I first like went into the craft beer world, I was all about the porters, the stouts, the dark, the brown ales, anything without a lot of hops in it. I hated IPAs. I couldn't stand them. But when I started drinking Stones,
Kind of how I am right now.
yeah, Stone, when they make their beers though, with their hoppiness works because they know how to balance them properly. Like the
I was
malt.
just gonna say it tastes like this was really sweet before probably the dry hopping process, and then that really balanced it out. So now it's
and so it's like you get that hop flavor, but you also get the maltiness, and then you get that last kick of hops at the end, and so it works.
It smells really hoppy. Yeah, what you said makes total sense. It was very sweet, and then with the dry hopping, it just that's exactly what it is.
So I'm gonna grab a piece of sausage here because I'm all about the sausage.
Sausages. Okay, what are the two?
Okay, I don't
those look way tastier.
We have skinny sausage and fat sausage.
One's a bratwurst and one's just a German sausage.
Which one's a brat?
The thick ones, yeah.
All right, I'll take a brat.
They're very.
It's for October, right? It's like a little Oktoberfest.
Yeah, it's like a homage to the Germans.
And they were all cooked in the Jux?
Basically, I just took a pan, poured some of the Juxtaposition in there, and grilled them up. Because they're pre-cooked, so you don't have to make sure they're cooked or anything.
Dude, that is good.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
With the beer? Oh my god.
Yeah, it really...
Oh.
Now, Dr. Bill from, if you do happen to have a few bottles of this and you want to pair it with something or whatever, Bill Sizak from Stone Brewing sent us a message letting us know that some of the best things you can pair this with are like a really well-cooked steak, some lamb, or like a pork. So it's basically, this is what you're going to drink during your dinner, during your main entree, when you're eating your meat, whatever. This is the dinner beer. So I mean, there's some before dinner beers and then after dinner beers and
right.
Which if as a viewer, if you've never been to a beer dinner before, I really find a local brewery because your local craft brewery is going to sponsor these things occasionally. Go to a beer dinner. Those things are like freaking amazing because you get chefs that are cooking awesome food. You get brewers who are taking that food and pairing it properly with their beer. And you're getting the beer and the entree that you want at each given time. You're like, here's your appetizer and your beer that goes with it. And you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. Then you get your entree with a new beer and you're like, oh my god, this is even more amazing. And then they give you the dessert with the dessert beer and you're like, oh my god. And it's like a flavor orgasm and you just melt.
Orgasm.
And it's all you can do to just...
Oral orgasm.
Yeah, it's a party in your mouth and all the flavors are invited.
Nice.
So...
And they're all
flavors
covered.
are invited. Yeah, what cheese do we have
Selections.
here?
I'm trying... This is the Torquay.
A Torquay?
Mm-hmm.
A Torquay.
It's a sheep's milk raw cheese, same as the Mahone, which is also a raw cheese, which means that it's not pasteurized. It's not dealt with that way. The brie has garlic infusion in it, which is really good.
What do we do with this? Do we just...
I went to my local my local gourmet grocery store.
You can say the name.
All right, I went to Whole Foods.
Thank you.
And I really like Whole Foods because the people that work there cheese kind of know what they're doing. And if you're gonna pair cheese with beer, find like a gourmet cheese shop or a Whole Foods or something like that. Go in there, tell them the type of beer you're drinking, and they'll tell you exactly what kind of cheeses to get. It's awesome. It's great. And I picked out a couple of these, and I was like, hey, I'm drinking a dark Pilsner, and this is what and she's like, oh yeah, that's perfect, and I'll also try this one. And I think all of them have worked for me. I've never had a pairing that was like, this doesn't work.
So you said they were the first to make a dark Pilsner. When was that?
They released this June 27th, I want to say.
Of this year?
Yeah.
And since then, how many dark Pilsners have they made?
None.
No other people?
To my knowledge, and I could be wrong on this,
no other
and if
brewery?
I am, please let me know. But I believe this is the only black Pilsner in existence.
So then how would they know what to pair it with?
Well, because you're dealing with the idea of what makes a dark beer, which is the type of malts that they're going to use to create a dark beer.
Gotcha.
Versus the fact that it's a Pilsner style yeast. And it's the yeast that determines that it's a Pilsner.
Oh, okay.
The type of yeast that they use creates that Pilsner.
The grains and everything like that.
Right.
The darkness. Or?
Right. Like when you look at malts, and here's your beer education for the show. Malts and barley have a Lovibond, which is kind of like the degree of darkness.
Okay.
And so, like, you have a crystal malt, which will have like a 45 Lovibond. And that's what you would create like with a pale ale or whatever. When you get into these kind of beers, you get into like the 455 to the 554 Lovibond, which is how long they spend cooking the malts.
Right.
And so it's very, very dark. It almost looks like Cocoa Pebbles. And it's seriously, like, you know how you pour Cocoa Pebbles in and it leaves that like rim of like chocolate powder and stuff? That's what it looks like in like the basket when you're getting it. And when you can grab it and eat it, and it's like, it tastes amazing. It's got that smoky, coffee, chocolatey taste to it, and it's, I want to make a breakfast cereal out of it. It's so awesome. That's why I hang out in brewing stores, because I love the malts, you know, and they tell me to leave because I don't buy anything, but whatever.
Get out of here.
But yeah, the Lovibond is going to determine the darkness of the beer. And so they're using a very high dark malty barley with this, but then they're using a Pilsner yeast to create, which you normally use with a lighter malt because of the way it works. So yeah, this concept was never done, as far as anybody knows, at least, you know, according to the research I've done on it.
Do you know why they would normally not use the Pilsner yeast? Or like what?
You know, I think it's just the style. A lot of these styles were created in, you know, way back when, in the days of yore, you know. About.com, they have an interesting article on Pilsner beer. And apparently, like, when they created the concept, all their ale beers had gone bad. And it was because, if you don't know, ale beers are top fermenting. The yeast ferments on the top.
Right.
Lagers are bottom fermenting. So that's when it's the difference between the two. And so,
I did not know that.
Yeah, and when they do,
It's all about the yeast.
Yeah, when they do an open fermenting and you have a top fermenting ale, the chances of getting bacteria and skunking the beer and all that kind of stuff are way higher. And so back in the 1800s, when, like, you know, hygiene wasn't exactly top of your priority list, you know, they rolled out all these barrels of beer and they poured them out because they'd all skunked. They'd all gone bad. And so they decided, they'd heard about this bottom fermenting yeast. They decided that was the direction they needed to go in. They decided that they wanted to use this bottom fermenting thing, and they created the Pilsner lager format of beer, and that's what ended up creating this. And that typically was used with light Lovibond degree barleys and whatever, and so that's why most Pilsners are light colored. Stone took it to the next level, and that's kind of what they do with their beer.
So remind me, the Pilsner is the bottom fermenting yeast?
Right.
Lagers are the bottom fermenting, and Pilsner is a type of lager.
Okay.
You also have like Weissbier and the Doppelbox and the Box and the Doppels, and those are all types of lagers.
Okay.
And the top fermenting is ale,
Right.
beers, and
for those of you who are into Coors Light, Bud Light, those kind of, 90% of the beer you're going to buy in the store is all bottom fermenting lager beers. They're all lager style beers.
because it's a lager.
And that's why a lot of the craft brews are all ales, is because they're trying to get away from that concept of doing the lagers or whatever. You'll find a lot of lagers and craft beers, but a lot of the craft breweries do a lot of ale beers. The latest issue of Zimmergy,
What's that?
that's the American Homebrewers Association magazine.
Okay.
They have a lot of beer recipes in their magazine a lot of times. They have a clone recipe for this beer. So if you want to make Juxtaposition, find someone that has a copy of that. If you want the recipe and you can't find it, let me know. I'll send you the recipe. No problem. You can make your own clone of this as a homebrew, and it'll taste. It probably won't taste as good, but it'll taste pretty good. So
Yeah, if you can pull this off as a homebrew, you're the man, dude.
you're styling at that point. Yeah, I'm still working on the honey weeds right now. So
We're trying to get beer right at this point. Not we, you.
I want it to taste like beer. I'll start worrying about tasting like specific beers eventually. But
If we can get it to Coors Light status,
wow. I can piss in a glass in about 5 minutes and get Coors Light for you.
wow. Well,
No,
I said it. Look. Coors Light, bring it.
Silver
Bring it.
bullet. Oh.
Bring the lawsuit. I got you. I got your
silver
attorneys
bullet.
right here.
well, I think I like this best with the brat.
Yeah, this is definitely a meat
I
kind
felt like
of beer.
this cheese really brought out the sweetness of it.
The Mahone.
Yeah.
The cheese and white?
No, not the Brie, the Mahone.
The
Oh, I
Mahone,
didn't-
the Mahone raw.
okay. The Brie, I didn't taste anything.
I'm about to find that out.
It
Yeah, the
tasted like
Brie,
nothing.
the Brie doesn't have a lot of flavor to it.
It tasted like nothing.
The cheese or the beer?
The cheese.
Oh, yeah.
I ate the cheese and drank with the beer, and it was like, okay. What am I
Yeah,
doing?
because and the other thing too is that's another like problem with dark beers is that typically because it's a dark beer, you go with a more earthy flavor. You could have almost gone with a lot more sharper cheeses with this to bring out the flavor to it. And that's cheese. Pungent cheeses have a strong flavor, so it's really hard to find beers that are going to counteract that or at least complement it.
Right.
And so a lot of times you end up just tasting the cheese when you're drinking the beer. And that's why they say a hoppy beer is like a really super hoppy beer or a beer that has a lot of flavor. You pair that up with like really strong cheeses because it can match it.
I mean, since Stone is a part of this, it's hoppy. I didn't think it would be this hoppy, to be honest with you. And saying what you said about the sharp cheese, it would definitely. I've had it before. I had that Arrogant Bastard when we were at Stone the other night with, I don't know what cheese that was, but it was very sharp and it was perfect with Arrogant Bastard. And it was like I wasn't even drinking Arrogant Bastard at that point. I was just eating cheese and drinking good
beer. Yeah.
You know,
awesome.
so yeah.
And
When a cheese can take on Arrogant Bastard, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, a cheese.
cheese.
A cheese.
Wow.
And collaboration brews are becoming kind of the thing right now with craft brew, and I think that's one of the biggest things that really draws me into the craft beer. I want to say what's the word I'm looking for?
The craft
culture.
beer
The craft beer
collaboration
culture.
world.
The French call it a certain.
Yeah. It's the culture of craft brewing is that like. You take a brewery like Stone and a brewery like Cambridge, and they can look at each other as competitors, or they can look at each other as like
Allies.
teammates.
Yeah.
And that's what they are. Like, none of the craft breweries are competing against each other. They're competing against Coors Light and Bud Light and whatever because those are the guys that are trying to put them out of business. Everybody else is trying to help each other.
Right.
It's like this commune of artists that have all gotten together and been like, we're way better than what the world believes in, so let's start creating this stuff and helping each other out, and we'll all benefit from it. And that's awesome, and that's why like you're seeing a lot of these collaboration brews. Stone has done it with Cambridge and Brewdog. They did another one with the Maui Brewing Company and a home brewer named Ken Schmidt called
Sierra Nevada. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, go well, Kona Coffee, Macadamia Nut
That
Porter.
was delicious.
Yeah, if you can get your
hands.
hands on that, like kill somebody for it.
I just
It's
picked
fun.
up like 8 the other day. So
Yeah,
it's
they're still out
it's
there.
out there.
But yeah, Sierra Nevada,
Sierra Nevada and Dogfish, Life and Limb.
Life
I
and
wanna
Limb,
try
and
that.
Lemon Life. They're doing two. They're doing
Life
a
and Limb
hard.
and Limb and Life.
Yeah, Life and Limb is their hardcore. Like this is a powerful beer. Boom, right? Lemon Life, and it might be reversed because we don't do a lot of research before the show. Lemon Life is their session beer. It's like a 5.0, easy to drink,
Interesting.
sit down.
I
beer.
never even heard
Yeah.
of the opposite lemon.
Yeah, they're doing two different collaborations. One's a session, one's a hardcore beer. Dogfish Head is another one of my favorite breweries. I love those guys.
Dogfish Head is hard.
Sam knows how to make beer. Like,
Yeah, you
oh my
mentioned that
god.
before.
Yeah, they're crazy, and it's a good time to mention too. Like, there's a lot of books on making beer and whatever, but Sam wrote a great book on business sense.
Right.
As it surrounds breweries.
Yeah,
and
reading
I
that.
encourage you to check that out because it's a great book. I finished reading it, and it's an amazing book. Especially, it's not even about it's about his struggle to create a brewery, but at the same time, it's probably one of the best business books I've ever read.
Yeah, because he started a brewery when it wasn't it was against the law.
Yeah, it was illegal in Delaware to create a brewery, and he did it anyway.
Yeah.
And he, it's
awesome.
his struggle against the laws and everything else, and it's awesome. I definitely recommend you read it. I'll have the name of it down here because I'm not going to butcher it right now because I'm not prepared to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I'll have the name. I'll put the name in the show.
I
We'll talk
can
about
see the
notes.
picture of the cover in my head.
Yeah, we'll put a link to where you can buy it. It's an excellent book. Definitely check it out. So this is
Cool.
This was a great I'm very happy. I'm so happy. I'm so happy we're back.
Yeah.
I want to hug everybody right now.
I'm really happy to be here.
Back.
It might be the beer talking, but I love beer.
Yeah, I have a really hefty buzz at this point because we've been hanging out
Yeah, we're just
for like 5 hours.
Awesome.
waiting.
On my way.
So, you know,
That wasn't a dig.
as always, this has been a great episode of New Brew Thursday. We're back. We're going to be here weekly. Check us out. We're on iTunes. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. All under New Brew Thursday. Find us.
We all have iPhones.
We all have iPhones.
And they're all on the table for some reason.
Yes, we're
So
all
call
available
us.
via our iPhones.
Next
at all
week
times.
we'll all have droids.
So, as always, it's been a great show. Stay safe. Drink beer.